This is Homer's Iliad, translated into English by Robert Fitzgerald. Book 22. Once in the town, those who had fled like deer wiped off their sweat and drank their thirst away, leaning against the cool stone of the ramparts. Meanwhile, Achaeans, with bright shields aslant, came up the plain and nearer. As for Hector, fatal destiny pinned him where he stood before the Scaean gates, outside the city. Now Archelaus heard Apollo calling back to him. "Why run so hard, Archelaus? Mortal as you are, after a god? Can you not comprehend it? I am immortal. You are so hot to catch me, you no longer think of finishing off the men you routed. They are all in the town by now, packed in, while you were being diverted here. And yet you cannot kill me. I am no man's quarry." Archelaus bit his lip and said, "Archer of heaven, deadliest of immortal gods, you put me off the track, turning me from the wall this way. 100 might have sunk their teeth into the dust before one man took cover in Ilion. You saved my enemies with ease and stole my glory, having no punishment to fear. I'd take it out of you if I had the power." Then toward the town with might and main he ran, magnificent, like a racing chariot horse that holds its form at full stretch on the plain. So light-footed Archelaus held the pace. An aging Priam was the first to see him, sparkling on the plain, bright as that star in autumn rising, whose unclouded rays shine out amid a throng of stars at dusk, the one they call Orion's dog, most brilliant, yes, but baleful as a sign. It brings great fever to frail men, so pure and bright the bronze gear blazed upon him as he ran. The old man gave a cry. With both his hands thrown up on high, he struck his head, then shouted, groaning, appealing to his dear son. Unmoved, Lord Hector stood in the gateway, resolute to fight Archelaus. Stretching out his hands, old Priam said, imploring him, "No, Hector, cut off as you are, alone, dear son. Don't try to hold your ground against this man, or soon you'll meet the shock of doom, borne down by the son of Peleus. He is more powerful by far than you, and pitiless. Ah, were he but dear to the gods as he is dear to me, wild dogs and kites would eat him where he lay within the hour, and ease me of my torment. Many tall sons he killed, bereaving me, or sold them to far islands. Even now I cannot see 2 sons of mine, Lycaon and Polydorus, among the Trojans massed inside the town. A queen, Laothoe, conceived and bore them. If they are alive amid the Achaean host, I'll ransom them with bronze and gold. Both I have piled at home, rich treasures that old Altes, the renowned, gave for his daughter's dowry. If they died, if they went under to the homes of death, sorrow has come to me and to their mother. But to our townsmen all this pain is brief, unless you too go down before Archelaus. Come inside the wall, child. Here you may fight on to save our Trojan men and women. Do not resign the glory to Archelaus, losing your own dear life. Take pity, too, on me and my hard fate while I live still. Upon the threshold of my age in misery, the son of Cronos will destroy my life after the evil days I shall have seen. My sons brought down, my daughters dragged away, bedchambers ravaged, and small children hurled to earth in the atrocity of war, as my sons' wives are taken by Achaeans' ruinous hands. And at the end, I too, when someone with a sword cut or a spear has had my life, I shall be torn apart on my own doorstep by the hounds I trained as watchdogs fed from my own table. These will lap my blood with ravenous hearts and lie in the entranceway. Everything done to a young man killed in war becomes his glory once he is riven by the whetted bronze. Dead though he be, it is all fair, whatever happens then. But when an old man falls and dogs disfigure his gray head and cheek and genitals, that is the most harrowing of all that men in their hard lives endure. The old man wrenched at his gray hair and pulled out hanks of it in both his hands, but moved Lord Hector not at all. The young man's mother wailed from the tower across, above the portal, streaming tears and loosening her robe, with one hand held her breast out in the other, saying, "Hector, my child, be moved by this and pity me. If ever I unbound a quieting breast for you, think of these things, dear child. Defend yourself against the killer this side of the wall, not hand to hand. He has no pity. If he brings you down, I shall no longer be allowed to mourn you laid out on your bed, dear branch and flower, born of me. Neither will your lady so endowed with gifts. Far from us both, dogs will devour you by the Argive ships." With tears and cries the two implored their son, and made their prayers again, but could not shake him. Hector stood firm as huge Achelous neared. The way a serpent fed on poisonous herbs, coiled at his lair upon a mountainside, with all his length of hate awaits a man, and eyes him evilly. So Hector, grim and narrow-eyed, refused to yield. He leaned his brilliant shield against a spur of wall, and in his brave heart bitterly reflected, "Here I am badly caught. If I take cover, slipping inside the gated wall, the first to accuse me for it will be Polydamas, he who told me I should lead the Trojans back to the city on that cursed night Achelous joined the battle. No, I would not, wiser though it would have been. Now troops have perished for my foolish pride. I am ashamed to face townsmen and women. Someone inferior to me may say, 'He kept his pride and lost his men, this Hector.' So it will go. Better, when that time comes, that I appear as he who killed Achelous, man to man, or else that I went down before him honorably for the city's sake. Suppose, though, that I lay my shield and helm aside, and prop my spear against the wall, and go to meet the noble Prince Achelous, promising Helen, promising with her all treasures that Alexandros brought home by ship to Troy, the first cause of our quarrel, that he may give these things to the Atreidae. Then I might add, apart from these, a portion of all the secret wealth the city owns. Yes, later, I might take our counselor's oath to hide no stores, but share, and share alike, to have all wealth our lovely city holds, all that is here within the walls. No, why even put the question to myself? I must not go before him and receive no quarter, no respect. Aye, then and there he'll kill me, unprotected as I am, my gear laid by, defenseless as a woman. No chance now for charms from oak or stone in parley with him, charms a girl and boy might use when they enchant each other talking. Better we duel, now, at once, and see to whom the Olympian awards the glory. These were his shifts of mood. Now close at hand, Achelous, like the implacable god of war, came on with blowing crest, hefting the dreaded beam of Pelion ash on his right shoulder. Bronze light played around him like the glare of a great fire or the great sun rising, and Hector, as he watched, began to tremble. Then he could hold his ground no more. He ran, leaving the gate behind him, with Achelous hard on his heels, sure of his own speed. When that most lightning-like of birds, a hawk bred on a mountain, swoops upon a dove, the quarry dips in terror, but the hunter, screaming, dips behind and gains upon it, passionate for prey. Just so Achelous murderously cleft the air, as Hector ran with flashing knees along the wall. They passed the lookout point, the wild fig tree with wind in all its leaves, then veered away along the curving wagon road and came to where the double fountains well, the source of eddying Scamander. One hot spring flows out, and from the water fumes arise as though from fire burning. But the other, even in summer, gushes chill as hail or snow or crystal ice frozen on water. Near these fountains are wide washing pools of smooth laid stone, where Trojan wives and daughters laundered their smooth linen in the days of peace before the Achaeans came. Past these the two men ran, pursuer and pursued, and he who fled was noble, he behind, a greater man by far. They ran full speed, and not for a bull's hide or ritual beast or any prize that men compete for, no, but for the life of Hector, tamer of horses. Just as, when chariot teams around a course go wheeling swiftly, for the prize is great, a tripod or a woman in the games held for a dead man, so 3 times these two at full speed made their course round Priam's town, as all the gods looked on. And now the father of gods and men turned to the rest and said, "How sad that this beloved man is hunted around the town before my eyes. My heart is touched for Hector. He has burned thigh flesh of oxen for me often, high on Ida, at other times on the high point of Troy. Now Prince Achelous, with devouring stride, is pressing him around the town of Priam. Come, gods, put your minds on it. Consider whether we may deliver him from death, or see him, noble as he is, brought down by Peleus' son, Achelous." Grey-eyed Athena said to him, "Father of the blinding bolt, the dark storm cloud, what words are these? The man is mortal, and his doom fixed long ago. Would you release him from his painful death? Then do so, but not all of us will praise you." Zeus, who gathers cloud, replied, "Take heart, my dear and honored child. I am not bent on my suggestion, and I would indulge you. Act as your thought inclines. Refrain no longer." So he encouraged her in her desire, and down she swept from ridges of Olympus. Great Achelous, hard on Hector's heels, kept after him the way a hound will harry a deer's fawn he has startled from its bed, to chase through gorge and open glade, and when the quarry goes to earth under a bush, he holds the scent and quarters till he finds it. So with Hector, he could not shake off the great runner Achelous, Every time he tried to sprint hard for the Dardan gates under the towers, hoping men would help him sending missiles down, Archelaus loomed to cut him off and turned him toward the plain, as he himself ran always near the city. As in a dream, a man chasing another cannot catch him, nor can he in flight escape from his pursuer, so Archelaus could not by swiftness overtake him, nor could Hector pull away. How could he run so long from death, had not Apollo for the last time, the very last, come near to give him stamina and speed? Archelaus shook his head at the rest of the Achaeans, allowing none to shoot or cast at Hector, none to forestall him and to win the honor. But when, for the fourth time, they reached the springs, the father poised his golden scales. He placed two shapes of death, prone and cold, upon them, one of Archelaus, one of the horseman Hector, and held the midpoint, pulling upward. Down sank Hector's fatal day. The pan went down toward undergloom, and Phoebus Apollo left him. Then came Athena, grey-eyed, to the son of Peleus, falling in with him and near him, saying swiftly, "Now at last I think the two of us, Archelaus, loved by Zeus, shall bring Achaeans triumph at the ships by killing Hector, unappeased though he was ever in his thirst for war. There is no way he may escape us now, not though Apollo, lord of distances, should suffer all indignity for him before his father Zeus, who bears the storm cloud, rolling back and forth and begging for him. Now you can halt and take your breath while I persuade him into combat face to face." These were Athena's orders. He complied, relieved, and leaning hard upon the spear shaft, armed with its head of bronze. She left him there and overtook Lord Hector, but she seemed Deiphobus in form and resonant voice, appearing at his shoulder, saying swiftly, "Ay, dear brother, how he runs, Archelaus, harrying you around the town of Priam. Come, we'll stand and take him on." To this, great Hector in his shimmering helm replied, "Deiphobus, you were the closest to me in the old days of all my brothers, sons of Hecabe and Priam. Now I can say I honor you still more because you dared this foray for my sake. See me run, the rest stay under cover." Again the grey-eyed goddess Athena spoke. "Dear brother, how your father and gentle mother begged me to remain, so did the soldiers round me, all undone by fear, but in my heart I ached for you. Now let us fight him, and fight hard, no holding back. We'll see if this Archelaus conquers both to take our armor seaward, or if he can be brought down by your spear." This way, by guile, Athena led him on. And when at last the two men faced each other, Hector was the first to speak. He said, "I will no longer fear you as before, son of Peleus, though I ran from you round Priam's town 3 times and could not face you. Now my soul would have me stand and fight, whether I kill you or am killed. So come, we'll summon gods here as our witnesses, none higher arbiters of a pact. I swear that, terrible as you are, I'll not insult your corpse should Zeus allow me victory in the end, your life as prize. Once I have your gear, I'll give your body back to Achaeans. Grant me, too, this grace." But swift Archelaus frowned at him and said, "Hector, I'll have no talk of pacts with you, forever unforgiven as you are. As between men and lions, there are none, no concord between wolves and sheep, but all hold one another hateful through and through. So there can be no courtesy between us, no sworn truce, till one of us is down and glutting with his blood the war god Ares. Summon up what skills you have. By God, you'd be a better spearman and a fighter. There is no way out now. Pallas Athena will have the upper hand of you. The weapon belongs to me. You'll pay the reckoning in full for all the pain my men have borne, who met death by your spear. He twirled and cast his shaft with its long shadow. Splendid Hector, keeping his eye upon the point, eluded it by ducking at the point of the instant of the cast. So shaft and bronze shank passed him overhead and punched into the earth. But unperceived by Hector, Pallas Athena plucked it out and gave it back to Achelous. Hector said, "A clean miss, godlike as you are. You have not yet known doom for me from Zeus. You thought you had, by heaven, then you turned into a word-thrower, hoping to make me lose my fighting heart and head in fear of you. You cannot plant your spear between my shoulders while I am running. If you have the gift, just put it through my chest as I come forward. Now, it's for you to dodge my own. Would God you'd give the whole shaft lodging in your body. War for the Trojans would be eased if you were blotted out. Bane that you are." With this he twirled his long spear shaft and cast it, hitting his enemy mid-shield, but off and away the spear rebounded. Furious that he had lost it, made his throw for nothing, Hector stood bemused. He had no other. Then he gave a great shout to Deiphobus to ask for a long spear. But there was no one near him, not a soul. Now in his heart the Trojan realized the truth and said, "This is the end. The gods are calling deathward. I had thought a good soldier Deiphobus was with me. He is inside the walls. Athena tricked me. Death is near, and black, not at a distance, not to be evaded. Long ago this hour must have been to Zeus's liking, and to the liking of his archer son. They have been well disposed before, but now the appointed time's upon me. Still, I would not die without delivering a stroke or dying gloriously, but in some action memorable to men in days to come." With this he drew the whetted blade that hung upon his left flank, ponderous and long, collecting all his might the way an eagle narrows himself to dive through shady cloud and strike a lamb or cowering hare. So Hector lanced ahead and swung his whetted blade. Achelous, with wild fury in his heart, pulled in upon his chest his beautiful shield, his helmet with 4 burnished metal ridges nodding above it, and the golden crest Hephaestos locked there, tossing in the wind. Conspicuous as the evening star that comes amid the first in heaven at fall of night, and stands most lovely in the west, so shone in sunlight the fine-pointed spear Achelous poised in his right hand, with deadly aim at Hector, at the skin where most it lay exposed. But nearly all was covered by the bronze gear he took from slain Patroclus, showing only where his collarbones divided neck and shoulders, the bare throat, where the destruction of a life is quickest. Here then, as the Trojan charged, Achelous drove his point straight through the tender neck, but did not cut the windpipe, leaving Hector able to speak and to respond. He fell aside into the dust, and Prince Achelous, now exalted, "Hector, had you thought that you could kill Patroclus and be safe? Nothing to dread from me? I was not there. Oh, childishness! Though distant then, Patroclus's comrade in arms was greater far than he. It is I who had been left behind that day beside the deep-sea ships, who now have made your knees give way. The dogs and kites will rip your body, his will lie in honor when the Achaeans give him funeral. Hector, barely whispering, replied, I beg you by your soul and by your parents, do not let the dogs feed on me in your encampment by the ships, except the bronze and gold my father will provide as gifts. My father and her ladyship my mother. Let them have my body back, so that our men and women may accord me decency of fire when I am dead. Archelaus, the great runner, scowled and said, Beg me no beggary by soul or parents, whining dog! Would God my passion drove me to slaughter you and eat you raw. You've caused such agony to me. No man exists who could defend you from the carrion pack, not if they spread for me 10 times your ransom, 20 times, and promise more as well. Aye, not if Priam, son of Dardanus, tells them to buy you for your weight in gold. You'll have no bed of death, nor will you be laid out and mourned by her who gave you birth. Dogs and birds will have you, every scrap. Then at the point of death, Lord Hector said, I see you now for what you are. No chance to win you over. Iron in your breast, your heart is. Think a bit, though. This may be a thing the gods in anger hold against you. On that day when Paris and Apollo destroy you at the gates, great as you are. Even as he spoke, the end came, and death hid him. Spirit from body fluttered to undergloom, bewailing fate that made him leave his youth and manhood in the world. And as he died, Archelaus spoke again. He said, Die, make an end! I shall accept my own whenever Zeus and the other gods desire. At this he pulled his spearhead from the body, laying it aside, and stripped the blood-stained shield and cuirass from his shoulders. Other Achaeans hastened round to see Hector's fine body and his comely face, and no one came who did not stab the body. Glancing at one another, they would say, Now Hector has turned vulnerable, softer than when he put torches to the ships. And he who said this would inflict a wound. When the great master of pursuit, Archelaus, had the body stripped, he stood among them, saying swiftly, Friends, my lords and captains of Argives, now that the gods at last have let me bring to earth this man who wrought havoc among us, more than all the rest, come, we'll offer battle around the city to learn the intentions of the Trojans now. Will they give up their strong point at this loss? Can they fight on, though Hector's dead? But wait, why do I ponder? Why take up these questions? Down by the ships Patroclus's body lies, unwept, unburied. I shall not forget him while I can keep my feet among the living. If in the dead world they forget the dead, I say there too I shall remember him, my friend. Men of Achaia, lift a song! Down to the ships we go, and take this body, our glory. We have beaten Hector down, to whom as a god the Trojans prayed. Indeed, he had in mind for Hector's body outrage and shame. Behind both feet he pierced the tendons, heel to ankle. Raw hide cords he drew through both, and lashed them to his chariot, letting the man's head trail. Stepping aboard, bearing the great trophy of the arms, he shook the reins, and whipped the team ahead into a willing run. A dust cloud rose above the furrowing body. The dark tresses flowed behind. The head, so princely once, lay back in dust. Zeus gave him to his enemies to be defiled in his own fatherland. So his whole head was blackened. Looking down, his mother tore her braids, threw off her veil, and wailed, heartbroken to behold her son. Piteously his father groaned, and round him lamentations spread throughout the town, most like the clamor to be heard if Ilion's towers, top to bottom, seethed in flames. They barely stayed the old man, mad with grief, from passing through the gates. Then in the mire he rolled, and begged them all, each man by name, "Relent, friends! It is hard, but let me go out of the city to the Achaean ships. I'll make my plea to that demonic heart. He may feel shame before his peers, or pity my old age. His father, too, is old, Callias, who brought him up to be a scourge to Trojans, cruel to all, but most to me. So many of my sons in flower of youth he cut away, and, though I grieve, I cannot mourn them all as much as I do one, for whom my grief will take me to the grave, and that is Hector. Why could he not have died where I might hold him? In our weeping then, his mother, now so destitute, and I might have had surfeit and relief of tears." These were the words of Priam as he wept, and all his people groaned. Then in her turn Hecabe led the women in lamentation. "Child, I am lost now. Can I bear my life after the death of suffering your death? You were my pride in all my nights and days, pride of the city, pillar of the Trojans and Trojan women. Everyone looked to you as though you were a god, and rightly so. You were their greatest glory while you lived. Now your doom and death have come upon you." These were her mournful words. But Hector's lady still knew nothing. No one came to tell her of Hector's stand outside the gates. She wove, upon her loom, deep in the lofty house, a double purple web with rose design. Calling her maids in waiting, she ordered a big cauldron on a tripod set on the hearth fire to provide a bath for Hector when he came home from the fight. Poor wife! How far removed from baths he was, she could not know, as at Archelaus's hands Athena brought him down. Then from the tower she heard a wailing and a distant moan. Her knees shook, and she let her shuttle fall, and called out to her maids again, "Come here, two must follow me to see this action. I heard my husband's queenly mother cry. I feel my heart rise throbbing in my throat. My knees are like stone under me. Some blow is coming home to Priam's sons and daughters. Ah, could it never reach my ears? I die of dread that Archelaus may have cut off Hector, blocked my bold husband from the city wall to drive him down the plain alone. By now he may have ended Hector's deathly pride. He never kept his place amid the chariots, but drove ahead. He would not be outdone by any one in courage. Saying this, she ran like a mad woman through the Megaron, her heart convulsed, her maids kept at her side. On reaching the great tower, and the soldiers, Andromache, stood gazing from the wall, and saw him being dragged before the city. Chariot horses at a brutal gallop pulled the torn body toward the deck ships. Blackness of night covered her eyes. She fell backwards, swooning, sighing out her life, and let her shining headdress fall, her hood and diadem, her plaited band and veil that Aphrodite once had given her on that day when from Aeetion's house, for 1,000 bridal gifts, Lord Hector led her. Now at her side kinswomen of her lord supported her among them, dazed and faint to the point of death. But when she breathed again, and her stunned heart recovered, in a burst of sobbing she called out among the women, "Hector, here is my desolation! Both had this in store from birth, from yours in Troy in Priam's palace, mine by wooded Placos at Thebe, in the home of Aeetion, my father, who took care of me in childhood, a man cursed by fate, a fated daughter. How I could wish I never had been born! Now under earth's roof to the house of death, you go your way and leave me here bereft, lonely, in anguish without end. The child we wretches had is still in infancy. You cannot be a pillar to him, Hector, now you are dead, nor he to you. And should this boy escape the misery of war, there will be toil and sorrow for him later, as when strangers move his boundary stones. That day that orphans him will leave him lonely, downcast in everything, cheeks wet with tears, in hunger going to his father's friends to tug at one man's cloak, another's chiton. Some will be kindly, one may lift a cup to wet his lips at least, though not his throat. But from the board some child with living parents gives him a push, a slap, with biting words, "Outside, you there! Your father is not with us here at our feast." And the boy, Astyanax, will run to his forlorn mother. Once he fed on marrow only and the fat of lamb, high on his father's knees. And when sleep came to end his play, he slept in a nurse's arms, brimful of happiness in a soft bed. But now he'll know sad days, and many of them missing his father. Lord of the lower town, the Trojans call him. They know you alone, Lord Hector, kept their gates and their long walls. Beside the beaked ships now, far from your kin, the blowflies, maggots in a swarm will eat you naked, after the dogs have had their fill. Ah, there are folded garments in your chambers, delicate and fine, of women's weaving. These, by heaven, I'll burn to the last thread in blazing fire. They are no good to you. They cannot cover you in death. So let them go. Let them be burnt as an offering from Trojans and their women in your honor. Thus she mourned, and the women wailed in answer.